Yo, it's Guido coming at you with a Tactics Talk, guys. Thanks for tuning in and welcome back to this episode of World of Tanks. And we have Saviniuk back from Clan ASCII. He's in his IS-3A in a single Tier 8 battle here on Stalingrad. What is this thing called? Kharkov. Yes, Kharkov. The IS-3A is an auto-loading Tier 8 premium Russian tank, Russian heavy. He's going to head into the town. He's kind of alone and unafraid at this point. Looks like the Lorraine and the T-28 camp in the back. There's a large amount of his forces going out into the field, and the EBR and the Lynx are raging around. This little spot here I didn't even realize was here. Had no idea this little overlook was here that could watch that crossing. Very interesting. Probably useful if you have a fast tank and can get there before they cross and get into the little circle into the east side of the map right there. And now he's got a TVVTU that's kind of hanging out with him. So he's going to flex back this way and look into the middle. See if anybody's going hold down. These little rubble piles here are good for hold down fights. There's rubble piles on each side. But he's going to scoff that and move straight through. And it looks like, at least at the moment, there's nobody in this general area. So the question is, where have the heavies gone? Could they all be camping? Unknown. There's a Lorraine 40T. Does a nice job here seeing that that guy's engaged and he's attempting to use all that clip, and that's one of those dangers of a auto-loading tank. That guy just really wanted to shoot all of his shots and he suffered for it, got punished. So there's a lesson for you auto-loading guys, especially the soft ones. Be careful early game when there's that many guns in the game. You really just can't account for all the angles that people will be able to shoot you from that early in a game. So if you pop out and take a shot and you start taking return fire, get out of the way. Unless you're absolutely sure there's nobody else around. But in that case, there was. He notices the 5100 is pushed in along with the AMX-65T, so he responds to that. And I think that was a good idea. It looks like the 40T and the T-28 are finally goaded into doing something because tanks have showed up near them. That's very annoying. Had that Lorraine 40T and T-28 come out with Savvy, they might have a better force trying to run around. So it just becomes Savvy trying to be the fireman while the campers sit around. That's very irritating. Now his team is active over on the other side. That's good. And he finds the 5100 and catches him out. Puts a shot into him. Waits to see if he comes out again. And because he's got that auto-loading system where he can fire and then reload without dumping the whole clip with C, he can sit there and wait. And if the guy shows up, he gets a shot. If he doesn't, then he reloads back to 3 shells and he takes his first artillery hit. Now what I will say here is, what I do with something like that is I go like that, I look at the gun line, that's the direction I was hit from, and then I will click up on that particular sector, and that lets the artillery know if they're paying attention that an artillery shot came from that direction. If somebody clicks in the back and no one's around there, then as an artillery player, when I'm playing artillery, I pretty much understand that's what they mean. Hey, I just got shot from that direction. And that is great SA for artillery players, especially if they're going to try to do a little counter, or later in the game, or even just for players in general to say, okay, that's where one of the artillery just shot from. Now I have a better understanding of how I can protect myself as far as angles and cover. So he comes in here and he finds the 5100. And unfortunately, the Lorraine has done nothing aggressive. He's moved up a little bit. Now we're going to stand in and just kind of accept the shots from the 5100. Not a whole lot you could have done there. Very dangerous. I'm kind of surprised the 65T did not react faster, but sometimes people are just clueless. And whatever reason, he sits there looking for a shot. And that was, that is the fear. That is the fear of an autoloader like the IS-3A. The guy comes in, aims in, shoots. Is probably very close to reloaded. Savvy fires and he runs away thinking, oh my gosh, there's 2 more shells coming in. That's just a misunderstanding as far as I'm concerned of the type of autoloading system that the IS-3A has. He just fired 3 into the 5100. Then he shoots you about 10 seconds later. More than likely he's got a 10-second reload and you had a chance to put another one in. I don't know, maybe it was ammo racked, maybe his gun was broken. There's other possibilities right there, but that was very interesting. And we're up to 3,000 damage. And when Savvy sent this to me, he said, had a good start, and towards the end I started to play into their game. And I thought, well, that's very interesting. Let's see what happens with that. 3,218, and now the map is a little more open. We have a T-28 prototype, a Lorraine, and a Skoda running around somewhere in town. The Skoda's on the edge. We have the 3 lighter tanks up in the northwest, and that's 6. That's all their tanks, and then the Arty. And then this poor 40T just, I don't know, he gets RNG'd by Savvy as he somehow drives up onto the barricade and exposes a couple pixels of his tank. Savvy takes him down and moves through. I thought this was a little bit of an early move into the middle here based on the direction you got hit by Arty just a little while ago. I don't know if I would have done that fast. And also, I think you need to flex over and help with this prototype as fast as possible. And I think that's what you're doing. That's right. You're going to try to get in here behind this guy and put a crossfire on him. So that is also a good idea. Come around here. We're just about reloaded with all 3 shells. Come around, just a nice little peek, do this hold down, and maybe just a little bit too fast on the draw right there because we could have got this guy down. And now we're getting hit by this stinking EBR who actually manages to ammo rack us with heat. So he puts a shot into our side. Puts 2, but only 1 pins. And now we back out. Then the proto goes down. Alright, so decision time. I think this is probably about the point where you said, man, I started to play their game. And you do a lot of running and wandering around. Looks like that EBR actually shot you in the back of the turret right there. I see the hole. So what to do, what to do. Obviously the cap is potentially going to be threatened. The Lorraine's over there. The Udez is over there. The Skoda's somewhere around the middle. And then you've got an EBR running around. Those are all lit. And you've got 2 artillery to deal with. Your other artillery is probably not long for the world because he doesn't have any protection. One of those 2 mediums is probably going to find him down there in the near future. So the options are chase the EBR. Actually, that may not be a bad option, to be quite honest, and see if you can't get into the artillery. But what you can't do is get locked down by the EBR kind of out in the open over there on the north sides of those buildings and get hit by the artillery. You've only got 533 hit points. So let's see what Savvy does. It looks like he's thinking about it, and then he folds back this way and says, nope, I'm not going to go after the EBR. But look where the EBR is. He's still messing around right there. And then he dives into the middle. And it looks like he's slightly engaged by the Lorraine. So this one's a hard decision. As a general rule, I will say go back. I harp on that a lot. But right now, it looks like you might have had that EBR pinned down enough that you could go get him. And potentially get some of the artillery lit and add them to the kill list right now. And this map is not that big. There is ample cover to move through the buildings to get back to your cap if they try to jump on it. And you've got the TVP, VTU, and the T-28 somewhat near the cap. I think on this one, I may have taken the chance to go get the EBR out because the Lorraine is finally showing some kind of backbone right here. But we don't do that. We head off this way. And now the Lorraine is left to fend for himself. And depending on what his clip status is and how he is shooting, he may easily be farmed by the EBR plus artillery. And you can see that since he saw, at least I'm assuming since he saw you run away, he's also heading out and getting back this way. So from here then, talking about playing into their strengths and exposing some of your weaknesses, you need to stay nearby your tanks and plus be as artillery safe as possible. So I thought this move right here was not bad. Let's go take a look, see if we can find out what's going on. And then the Skoda is running around, and unfortunately the VTU gets nuked by the 14-2. So now we're down to 3 tanks. So this is much uglier. You've got some good tanks for this. A couple of these guys are near deads. And then we see the EBR and the Skoda cruising around through the middle. The T-28 staring at him, and then here comes the Skoda. I want to talk something about camera technique right here for just a second. Notice how he's been cruising along for a while. It looks like on the mini-map, and from what we're seeing with his marker, that he's actually in that pit. But I would have zoomed out like this and went, all right, what's going on? Where is this dude? All right, he is in the pit. But you keep your camera down here and just sort of accept where he is. I would have just taken a quick look. I liked this. I thought this was a great idea right here. Yep, there he is. Fantastic. Great expectation right there. Understanding the map, knowing there's a ramp right there, and he's going to come popping up if he continues on that course. So now we're in better shape. That's good. We got that guy down. That auto loader, nice to get rid of. That's one of the near deads. The EBR is one of the other near deads. And now he's taking on the 40T. And at this point, it would be my goal in life to get over there and get rid of that guy. But what happens is you get a little bit of arty excitement here. You come around this corner and go, oh yeah, I'm going to get me some arty. But look what's happening to your poor 40T. Down he goes. And we're just going to drive out here. We're going to cross it this way. Because by golly, we got to get that arty. Well, not really. Not in this city map. And this is unfortunate that you don't get them. And all of a sudden now we're pinned down by this guy. 40T's coming in. Where's my help? My help is the T28 and he's behind me. It looks like finally you've decided to go after the EBR, but unfortunately, guess what? The UDES has repositioned around to over there, and now you're fighting two of these guys. And RNG is not on your side. A lot of these are going to be kind of iffy shots anyway, based on the accuracy, and these two are just working you over. Pretty soon you're probably going to have somebody behind you or on your side, depending on which way the Lorraine goes. The T28 is of no help where he is. There's nothing he can really do. He's so slow. And it's just back and forth with these guys. The good news is you're bouncing everything so far. You're also exposed to arty, depending on where it is. More than likely, you're going to take an arty shot here pretty soon. Drive up onto that, and oops, guess what? There's our buddy. Lorraine 40T finds us, and not surprised at all. Boom. Takes you down. So I think you saw that. One of the reasons you sent that in, obviously, when you said played into their game at the end. Yeah, absolutely. You needed to stick with your buddies a little bit more. The push after the artillery definitely hurt you. He was kind of in a position where it wasn't really going to hurt you too much until he got repositioned. I would have definitely tried to work on their tanks. The 40T, you know, he went where he went. There's not a whole lot you can do about people who are going to play like that. But if you could have been a little bit closer to him, potentially you might have been able to help him, especially once he started lighting up those two guys going after him. The other thing to think about there is, obviously, if he's pretty far out and you had to separate from the T28 to rage over there only to not get there in time anyway, may have been the same result as you got right there. So potentially, if he was being foolish and not sticking around you, you needed to just stick with the T28 as best you could. And I think, to be quite honest, I had taken a chance on trying to get that EBR earlier when the 40T was actually in a decent position. And you may have been able to gobble up a couple of those artillery, and this would have been a much more even fight later on. All right, man, thanks for sending that in. A lot of good lessons on that one for sure. Appreciate you sending that. Appreciate everybody coming by. If you like what you saw, you learned something, go ahead and subscribe, and we will see you.